Welcome to African Stories by Asada, the Cynic Driver's YouTube channel. Where are you watching from? In this thoughtful and provocative commentary narrated by a cynical rideshare driver, a simple trip with two passengers, one empathetic young woman and one judgmental and arrogant middle-aged man about methadone clinic, looking at opposing side to the cause of drug addiction and treatments available. Before we dive into the story, we encourage you to rate the video and tell us in the comments below where you are watching from. Like, share, and subscribe so that you will be the first to be notified of our next video coming up. I drive nights because the roads are honest. Streets don't fake smiles. They just stretch and take you where you're going. People, though, people talk in circles. Tonight I pick up two riders from outside a coffee shop. The woman waves, soft smile, eyes that look like she still believes in people. The man steps in like he owns the seat, cologne loud, jaw tight. He double-checks the address and destination. We pull away. The sky is dark blue, and the air has that cool snap right before midnight. I tell myself to keep quiet. Just drive, keep the peace, drop them, and go grab a cheap burger. But we pass the block with the clinic sign, the one people love to fight about. The woman leans forward. "Is that the methadone clinic?" she asks, calm voice. I nod. The man laughs a hard laugh. "That place ruins the city," he says. I watch him in the mirror. He looks sharp, like a boss who never learned how to say sorry. "How?" I ask, because I am a driver and a fool. He points. "It gives drugs to drug users." The woman turns to him. "It gives care," she says. "It helps people not get sick. It keeps them alive." The man shakes his head. "Weak choices, weak people." I grip the wheel. I've heard this speech 100 times. It never gets smarter. Here's the thing I've learned driving folks to that building. People start using for different reasons. One big reason is pain that never got handled right. Not just broken bones. I mean pain inside the head and heart. Bad memories, violence, childhood stuff that sticks to the mind like gum on a shoe. Folks try a pill or a powder to quiet the noise. It works for a minute, then it doesn't. Then they need more. That's cause number one, old hurt that never healed. We pretend we don't see it. We tell them to be strong. We don't hand them any tools. Then we act shocked when they reach for the only tool in reach. The clinic is a door. Not the only door, but a door. Another cause is simple and boring. Injury and pain. Back pain, work injuries, car crashes. A doctor gives strong pills after surgery. At first, it helps. Then the refill comes late or stops. The pain stays. The body remembers the relief and wants it again. Some folks slide from pain pills to street pills. Not because they love danger, because they still hurt and can't sleep. I've driven roofers with torn shoulders who cried when the pills ran out. They didn't want to chase a high. They wanted to stand up at work without feeling like their bones were on fire. It's hard to judge that from a clean office chair. The man bristles. "Doctors should be careful," he says. "That's on them." The woman breathes in slow. "People slip," she says. "Bodies get hooked." He shrugs. "Then quit," he says. I let out a small laugh. "You ever try to quit oxygen?" I ask. Your body screams. It screams the same when a drug has rewired it. He stares out the window, jaw working. I keep my eyes on the road. Treatment for that, I say, is not just willpower, it's medicine. Methadone, buprenorphine. They calm the body. They stop the sickness. They give space to fix life. The word space hangs in the car like a light. Cause 3 is the grind. No money, no home, no steady job. People don't talk about that because it's not shiny, but stress stacks up like unpaid tickets. You get evicted, you sleep in your car, you watch your stuff every minute, your nerves are fire. A friend passes you something that makes the world quiet for a few hours. You take it. The quiet feels like safety. Now you want that safety every day. I drive past tents under bridges. People there are not chasing dreams. They are hiding from cold and fear. Drugs become a bad blanket, not warm, but not as cold as the street. "Help exists," the man says.
Shelters, jobs, people need to try. The woman turns to him. They do try, but the line is long. The rules are strict. The bus is late. The boss says no record, no job. I add, housing first works. Give someone a key and they calm down. Then they can do treatment. Then they can look for work. He waves a hand. Free houses, please. I don't answer. I've seen what a door that locks can do for a shaking hand. It's not magic. It's rest. Rest is medicine too. We love hard words like discipline, but we hate the boring tools that make discipline possible. Cause 4 is other people, family habits, friends, the crowd. If your dad drank himself to sleep, if your mom numbed herself to get through the day, you think that is normal. If your friends pass a pill at a party, you want to belong. I pick up teens from campuses who talk like this is just fun. Then finals hit. Then breakups hit. Then grief hits. Fun turns into need. The body learns fast and forgets slow. You don't need a villain to start a habit. You just need a weekend and a friend with a bottle or a bag. By the time you see the trap, you are already in it. The woman fidgets with her sleeve. My brother started like that, just with friends. The man snorts. Bad friends. I shake my head. Not always bad, I say. Just people trying to feel less alone. Treatments here means changing the circle, support groups, peer coaches, people who have walked the same rough road and can point to potholes. It also means simple harm reduction, clean supplies so infections don't spread, test strips so you don't die from surprise poison, and nalcoxin. You carry it like a seatbelt. You hope you never need it. You're glad when it saves a stranger's breath.
'Cause 5 is the big silent one, sadness that keeps going. We call it depression or anxiety or both. It makes the world feel heavy, like walking in wet sand. You still go to work, you still smile in photos, but inside, the air feels thin. A little pill or powder promises a shortcut to okay. It works for a while. Then you need more just to feel normal. The sadness grows claws. People think this is about character. It's also about chemistry. Brains get sick like knees get sore. Treatment here should be both. Therapy that is safe and slow, and sometimes medicine that is careful and kind. The man rolls his shoulders. Okay, he says, so what? We can't save everyone. The woman looks at him. We can try not to throw them away, she says. I add, we can offer real casts. Then I lay them out, one by one, so even the man can't miss them. Methadone and buprenorphine to steady the body. Counseling to untie the knots in the mind. Detox and inpatient when someone needs a full stop in a safe bed. Harm reduction so people live long enough to heal. Support groups and peer mentors for the long walk after. These are not perfect, but they beat death. Most plans do. We hit a red light. On the corner, a guy in a thick hoodie hugs himself. He looks like a ghost trying to remember his name. The man in my back seat watches him and shakes his head. Choice, he says. The woman's voice is gentle. Sometimes the choice happened years ago, she says. I think of the first man I drove to the clinic. He was a plumber, good hands. He cried in my back seat because he could not lift his kid without shaking. After a month on medicine, he showed me a photo of a birthday cake he held steady. Small win, big life. The man leans in. But methadone just replaces one drug with another, he says. I keep my voice flat. It replaces chaos with stability, I say. It helps the body stop screaming. People can work, they can parent, they can sleep. It is not a party drug. It is a seat belt. He shrugs. Then why do I see folks nodding out? I nod back. Because life is messy. Some people mix things. Some are still in pain. But the answer to a leak is not to burn the house down. It's to fix the pipe, even if the floor is wet for a while. We pass the clinic. Lights are on. A guard waves a slow wave to no one. The parking lot is half full. People like to say the word clinic as if it's a sin. What I see is a waiting room where nobody laughs at your shaking hands. A nurse who learns your name. A doctor who says, let's try again, even when last week was a mess. A counselor who teaches you how to breathe when the past walks into the room. The man exhales annoyed. The woman smiles at the building like it's a lighthouse. Me, I keep driving. I've seen storms. Lighthouses matter. The man finally looks at me in the mirror. You've driven a lot of these people? He asks. I nod. Every week. Morning, night, snow, rain. Some talk, some stare at the floor. Some smell like hope, some smell like fear. The woman tilts her head. Do you think most will make it? I take a breath. Some will, some won't. Same as life. But without the clinic, fewer would even have a shot. The man folds his arms. I don't get why tax money should pay for someone's bad choices. I glance at him. Because if they die, we still pay. We pay in ER bills, police calls, kids in foster care. Treatment is cheaper than funerals. We roll past the bus stop. A young guy with a crutch is leaning on the pole. His face is thin, but his coat is clean. That's Kevin, I say before I can stop myself. Used to nod out on this corner. Clinic helped him get his leg fixed after an accident. Now, he's learning to weld. The woman smiles. That's amazing. The man shrugs. Temporary. Most go back. I grip the wheel tighter. Relapse happens. You know what else happens? Recovery that sticks. You just don't notice those people because they're not on the corner anymore. The woman asks softly, do you think some people make it and some don't? I think about that one. Support, I say. If you've got someone who answers the phone when you're shaking at 2 a.m., you've got a shot. If you've got a safe bed, you've got a shot. If you've got a counselor who listens more than lectures, you've got a shot. Without those, it's like climbing out of a hole with no ladder. The man mutters, not my job to be their ladder. The woman turns her gaze to the window. We're all someone's ladder, she says. We pass an alley. I see two shapes huddled near a dumpster. I've been driving this route long enough to know one of them will be gone by winter. Not because of choice, because of fentanyl. You know, people act like this epidemic is the same as before. It's not. The drugs now are poison. People don't even know what they're getting. One wrong bag and your heart stops. The man scoffs. Then don't buy the bag. The woman's voice sharpens. Addiction doesn't wait for logic. It waits for opportunity. I nod. That's why we carry Narcan, to give them one more chance at logic. The man asks, so you think everyone should get free drugs? I laugh once. No, I think everyone should get a chance to live long enough to get better. Methadone isn't free fun, it's boring survival. Most folks on it still have to rebuild from ashes. That's the hard part. The woman asks, what's the hardest thing for them? I answer, trust. People stop trusting themselves, and others stop trusting them. That's a heavy chain to carry while trying to heal. We drive by a mural, big colors, a pair of hands breaking free from chains. I point at it. That's what it's about, breaking chains. The chains are pain, poverty, trauma, bad luck. Methadone is a saw, not the whole toolbox, but one blade. The man says, but some don't even want to change. I shrug. Some don't. Some can't see past today. But I've seen plenty who do want it. The ones who do want it, if you give them tools, they surprise you. The woman asks, what about mental health? Is it part of it? I nod, always. Anxiety, depression, PTSD. Half the people in those chairs have one or more. That's why treatment can't just be a pill. It's got to be therapy, coping skills, safe people to call. Otherwise, you're just covering a wound without cleaning it. The man smirks. Sounds like a never-ending project. I meet his eyes in the mirror. It is.
So is staying healthy. So is raising kids. So is paying bills. Some projects are worth doing anyway. We roll past the hospital. I point to the ER entrance. See that? Most ER docs know these faces. Overdose, withdrawal, infections. It's a revolving door. You give someone methadone and support, the visits drop. That frees up beds for heart attacks and crashes. That saves money, time, lives. But that's not a headline, so nobody cheers for it. The woman frowns. Why not? I shrug. Because we cheer for drama, not maintenance.
The man asks, "So you're telling me this clinic saves the city money?" I nod. Millions. Treatment costs less than jail, less than hospital stays, less than foster care when parents die or disappear. It's not charity, it's smart math. The woman adds, "And it's humane." The man looks out the window. Humane doesn't balance budgets. I say, neither does pretending the problem isn't there. A couple walks out of the clinic doors. They're holding coffee cups and paperwork. I know that paperwork. It's a schedule for counseling and dosing. The man in the car scoffs. "They look fine to me." I say, "Yeah, that's the point. Stability looks boring. You don't notice it unless you know what chaos looks like." The woman leans forward. "Do you ever get tired of explaining this to people?" I smile. "Every day. But if one person listens, maybe they stop voting for nonsense laws that make it harder." The man crosses his arms. "I still think it's enabling." I sigh. "You know what enabling is? Letting someone drown when you've got a rope in your hand. You don't pull them in and say, 'Swim better.' You pull them in, dry them off, and teach them to swim when they're not choking." The woman nods. "That's the part people don't get. You can't recover while you're dying." We pass a park where a memorial wall stands. Names carved into stone. Mostly young names. I point. "Over there. Overdose deaths from the last 5 years. That's what happens without treatment." The man says nothing. The woman whispers, "Too many." I nod. "And those are just the names they carved, not the ones forgotten." The man finally asks, "So what's your story? Why do you care?" I think about lying, then I don't. "My brother," I say. "He got hurt on a construction site. Pills at first, then heroin. We buried him 2 years later. He didn't get a clinic. He got a cell for 6 months. Came out sicker. That's why I drive people to the door instead of the jail." The woman reaches over and puts her hand on my arm. "I'm sorry," she says. The man shifts in his seat. He doesn't apologize, but his shoulders drop a little. "So you think if he'd had treatment, he'd still be here?" he asks. I nod. I think he would have had a shot, and a shot is better than none. We're getting close to their stop. The man is quieter now. The woman is still watching the streets roll by. I say, "Look, you don't have to love the clinic, but understand it. It's not about handing out highs. It's about keeping people alive long enough to remember they matter. 5 causes, a dozen treatments, and one simple truth: dead people don't recover. The clinic's job is to keep them breathing until they can start living again." We pull onto a quieter street. The buildings get newer, glass windows clean and shiny. The man glances out like he's seeing another planet. "Funny," I say, "how the city changes in just 10 blocks. Over there, people are holding on by their fingernails. Over here, they've got spare nails in the drawer." The woman sighs. "It's all the same city, though." I nod. "Yeah, and if we don't deal with the mess in one part, it spills into the other. That's how cities breathe. Same air, same streets, same problems and different clothes." The man looks at me in the mirror. "You think the problem will ever go away?" I shake my head. "No, but it can get smaller, less deadly. Like fire, you don't get rid of it, you control it. You build barriers. You make sure it doesn't burn the whole place down." The woman adds, "And you give people fireproof gloves so they can handle it without getting burned again." We stop at another red light. A young woman is crossing the street with a paper bag. I know she's headed to the clinic because I've seen her before. Last year, she couldn't look anyone in the eye. Now she walks steady, head up. The man watches her.
She doesn't look like an addict. I chuckle. What does one look like? You think it's all bad teeth and shaky hands? Some are teachers, nurses, guys in suits. You just can't see the fight going on inside. The woman leans forward. Do you ever get hopeful? All the time, I say. Hope shows up in small ways. A mom making her kids lunch again, a guy getting his first paycheck in years, someone smiling in the back seat instead of crying. You collect those moments, because the bad ones come easy, the good ones you have to notice. We drive past the bus station. A man in a thick coat is sitting on the bench, sketching in a notebook. I point him out. That's Ray. Been clean 6 months. Sells his art now. He told me methadone gave him enough quiet in his head to hold a pencil again. The man in the back nods slowly. 6 months? Huh. Yep, every day counts. The man speaks again, quieter this time. You said 5 causes earlier. Pain from the past, injuries, poverty, bad influences, and depression. And the treatments, medicine, therapy, housing, harm reduction, and support groups. You really think that covers it? I nod. It's not everything, but it's a start. You work those angles, you save lives. You ignore them, you bury more people. Simple math. The woman smiles faintly. I think more people should hear it like this. I shrug. They don't want to. They want a quick fix or someone to blame. The truth is slow and messy. It asks you to care about people you don't like. That's a hard sell. We're getting close to their stop. The streetlights are spaced wider here. The car feels quieter. The man leans back. You know, he says, I still don't like the idea of it, but maybe I get it a little more now. That's as much as I'll get from him tonight, and it's enough. Understanding doesn't start with love. It starts with less hate. The woman checks her phone. We're almost there, she says softly. I keep driving, but I'm thinking about the clinic lights fading behind us. Each night, more people walk through those doors. Some won't come back. Some will come back until they don't need to. That's the quiet part no one talks about. Success leaves the building and blends into the world. We pull up to their stop, a nice apartment building with polished stone steps. They both unbuckle. The woman says, Thanks for the ride and for talking. The man just nods once. No smirk, no laugh, just a nod. That's his version of a thank you.
They step out, and the door closes. I watch them walk toward the entrance. The woman says something. The man answers with a small shrug. I wonder if she'll keep poking holes in his certainty. Maybe she will. Sometimes the stubborn mind just needs a crack for light to get in. I pull away from the curb. The road ahead is long and straight. Another ride will come in soon. Maybe the next one will be quiet. Maybe it'll be another argument about drugs or crime or money. It doesn't matter. I'll still drive, still listen, still throw my 2 cents in when I can. The thing about this job is, you learn fast that the city runs on stories. Everyone's carrying one, whether they tell it or not. Some are loud and angry. Some are whispered. Some are so heavy you feel them without hearing a word. The clinic is part of 1,000 stories every week. Most people don't know that. Most don't want to. But I know. I've seen the before and after. I've driven people to their first appointment, and I've driven them months later when they're clean and starting over. The change isn't magic. It's sweat, tears, and time. The clinic just buys them enough of it to make a difference. I take a deep breath, roll down the window, and let the cold air hit my face. Somewhere behind me, in that building we passed, someone just decided to try again tomorrow. That's the only victory that matters in this fight. Not perfect endings, just another tomorrow. And as long as they keep walking through those doors, I'll keep driving them there.
Here are the 5 main causes and available treatments for drug addiction and treatments. 5 big causes of drug addiction. 1. Old hurt that never healed. Trauma, abuse, violence, or bad memories that push people to numb themselves. 2. Injury and pain. Physical pain from accidents or surgery leading to dependence on painkillers. 3. Poverty and stress. No home, no job, no constant pressure. Drugs feel like a bad blanket against a cold world. 4. Family and friends. Growing up around substance use or joining in to fit in with the crowd. 5. Long, heavy sadness. Depression and anxiety and mental health struggles that make drugs seem like a shortcut to feeling okay. 5 key treatments that work. 1. Medication-assisted treatment. Methadone, buprenorphine, and similar medicines to stabilize the body and reduce cravings. 2. Counseling and therapy. Untangling mental and emotional pain with safe, steady support. 3. Housing first. A safe place to live before expecting recovery to stick. 4. Harm reduction. Clean supplies, test strips, and naloxone to prevent infections and overdose deaths. 5. Support networks. Peer mentors, recovery groups, and friends who understand the struggle. The core truth? Dead people don't recover. The goal is to keep people alive long enough to heal, rebuild, and choose a better life. Moral lessons from the ride. 1. Addiction is rarely just bad choices. It often starts with pain, trauma, or circumstances no one asked for. Judging without understanding keeps people stuck instead of helping them out. 2. Treatment is not enabling, it's a lifeline. Methadone, therapy, housing, and support don't give people a free pass, they give them a fighting chance. 3. Everyone needs a door that opens. Access to care, safe shelter, and understanding voices can be the difference between recovery and a funeral. 4. Support is the ladder out of the hole. Recovery is easier when someone answers the phone at 2 a.m., offers a ride, or simply believes you can get better. 5. The problem is everyone's problem. Ignoring addiction costs communities more in money, safety, and human lives than facing it head-on. 6. Hope grows in small steps. One more day alive, one paycheck, one birthday cake, one smile. Those small wins add up to a new life. Thanks for watching. Please leave comments, like, share, and subscribe so that you will be the first to be notified our next video coming up.